Kia ora, good morning. I wasn't planning on making this video, but I had to share it. Again, if you hear me go quiet, it's just because I'm having a sip of my coffee. But I'm when I'm not working, when I'm not in the creative flow, I'm an early to bed kind of person because I like to get up early. It's a force of habit from being a mum. Because I used to get up around about 3 o'clock in the morning, between 3 and 4, so that I could have my workout and do all the chores and that, so that when the boys woke up, I had the day with the boys. Because I homeschooled, and yeah, so I'd have the day with the boys, and we'd sit and create and work on this empire that we were building together. So I had originally called it Queen Bee Industries, and now it's North Star Industries. But I woke up because I fell asleep quite early. I had a late dinner and then I immediately passed out because I spent all day dropping truth bombs and causing trouble for people like Donald Trump and Elon Musk and Keir Starmer. You know, the usual routine. Doing the work for the Lord. I basically sit in the underworld in the prayer position until I'm told to do what I have to do. And at the moment, I'm fighting on the Queen's behalf. If you've been watching my social media, there's a lot of stuff going on regarding the royal family and that, and I'm just trying to keep all the evil away from the king because it's starting to affect him. And it's my responsibility to keep evil away from Vladimir Putin and King Charles. So anyway, that's what I was doing yesterday, and believe it or not, although it just looks like I'm posting and doing investigations and bringing up evidence and all of that, it's a lot of hard work. Doing quantum magnetics, doing my kind of physics is mentally exhausting, which is why I get hungry all the time. It uses a lot of energy to do what I do because I'm having to exist in the existence of time and the reality of time, the 3D physical world and the conscious world at the same time, and try and maintain balance. I'm supposed to have a protector. I'm supposed to have the man in my life, like my husband Martin, and before him Chris. The man in my life is supposed to be the one to take care of all the 3D physical things so that I can concentrate on sitting in existence and, doing the work of the Lord, sort of thing, pulling out the messages and deciphering codes and doing my occult physics as the Grand Empress Fairy Godmother, Brahena Saithusa, because I'm the Grand Empress Fairy Godmother, Brahena Saithusa. She's a North Star Dragon, but she's the Grand Empress. She is like there is no fairy godmother or fairy godfather that comes before her. She is like the one that they bow to. She's the one that gives the orders, and because she watches over all the children, and the children are the ones that make all the wishes. So my whole empire is based on my character, Brahena Saithusa, making kids' wishes come true. Which is why, again, it's so offensive that Elon Musk's dominatrix girlfriend, that little love triangle that they run on Knight's World, she's trying to steal my identity again. And this happens a lot. People keep trying to steal my identity, steal my ideas, steal my stuff. Now she's taking on the embodiment of a fairy who's a little girl wanting to be a queen in a teeny tiny world. So where the teeny tiny folk live, she's ripped that off. But again, she's wanting to be with a man, a little girl who's a queen who's wanting to be a man. So she's taken my whole narrative again, and I knew this was going to happen. God said to me when I started building my empire, when you start, like, I need you to put certain things that you do out there, because it's going to be a trap for people who can't be trusted. It's a way to test who can and can't be trusted. I have people caught up in this whole triangle with this BDSM relationship that Elon Musk is in with this woman pretending to be a little girl. I have people caught up in that I needed to know whether I could trust them or not. And I can't, because they're stealing my stuff and then putting it all out there. But it's okay. Like, I don't mind, because I know I can sue them, because it's identity theft, and it's the theft of my creative properties. Now, after Chris tried to kill me in June 2022, when he put the cocaine in the pizza and stuff like that, he immediately started publishing books and jewellery and products, selling them on eBay and that sort of thing, that he'd stolen from me, and that they tried to open a store and build an empire on. He stole my bakery, which is really important. His business that he opened a cake stall in the Wakefield shopping centre called Psycho Bakes Wakefield, which only lasted a couple of months, because the whole thing was cursed. Everything I'm talking about is on social media, because I have to watch these people, because once I see them stealing my ideas, I have to take the evidence to present it to court for when I sue them for identity theft and, theft of intellectual property and stuff like that. But it's important as well, especially with the Psycho Bakes Wakefield. It was literally, their symbol was a knife through the heart. I'm not even kidding. And they called it Psycho Bakes. That was him and I think one of his three lovers, Katie, who did it. Now, this is important and pertinent to this message, because I woke up, I had a couple of things that I had to post, and I was going to go back to sleep, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to be getting up in a couple of hours anyway, because like I'm used to that routine now. I've been up by 3 or 4, even though I don't exercise anymore. And I thought, well, there's no point going to sleep for a couple of hours, because I'm naturally going to wake up anyway. I can always have a moi. I can always have a sleep during the day. So I decided to get up and have a shower. And I was washing, and I don't know why I didn't notice it before. But June 29th, 2015 is when I decided to go on a diet and lose weight and save my life. That's when my boy Thomas came into my room when he was like 6 years old, 7 years old, somewhere between 6, 7. And he said to me, when I grow up, I know what I want to be when I grow up, Mama. And I said, what's that? And he said, I want to be a surgeon. He's always said he wanted to be a doctor. He just didn't know what field. He wanted to do it all. He wanted to help people have babies, be a fertility specialist, and be like a OBGYN. Then he wanted to do cardiothoracic. Then he wanted to do general surgery. Then he wanted to do A&E. And now I think he wants to make games and like act and perform. And I mean, that was the last time we talked. But he said, when I grow up, I want to be a surgeon so I can fix your tummy, meaning from my my hernia surgeries that almost killed me, which was a direct result of neglect and abuse from my husband, their dad, who tried to kill me in June 22. And I was suffering from mesh rejection. I was having chronic infections all the time. And when you have hernia repair surgeries and they put in synthetic meshes, about 40% of all people who have mesh surgery, hernia repair surgery, suffer from mesh rejection, and I was one of them. So I had about 6 years of having chronic infections. I was always having to have treatment on my stomach. I was on untold medications. It was really hard for me because they had to keep changing my antibiotics because they stopped working. And in the end, I became immune to all antibiotics. I'm now allergic to every kind of antibiotic there is. You can't put a medicine in my body other than antihistamines that my body won't instantly react to. I can't even have like aspirin, Dispirin, paracetamol, ibuprofen, not even ibuprofen gel. My body has just rejected all chemicals now because my body is so pure. So I had to heal the infections through taking chloride dioxide, CDS, chloride dioxide solution, which they've banned in pretty much most countries because it's one of those unknown superpower concoctions that the medical world don't want you to know about because it cures thousands and thousands and thousands of illnesses and diseases. CDS, chloride dioxide solution. I took it for 2 weeks. It smells like chloride, it smells like a swimming pool, but it just tastes like mildly sweet water. And I took it, and because it got into my meshes on a microscopic level, it got right into all the meshes and cured the infections. I've never had an infection since. I then gave it to my friend who had polycystic ovary syndrome and fertility issues because of that. And within a year, she was pregnant, and now she's got like 90 kids. She's been pregnant every year since. So I had to start healing my body naturally. The surgeons, the doctors had told me at the NHS they offered me bariatric surgery where they, were going to clamp my stomach. And I said, no, I'll do it myself because I was embarrassed that he'd even suggested it because I wasn't even there for that. And that was like humiliation for me. And then what my son said to me when I realised that I wasn't going to live long enough to see him be a surgeon if I didn't sort my shit out, it was like, I keep saying it was like I was smacked over the head by a cricket bat, and I knew I had to do something. So my ex had been on the sugarless diet, and the weight was falling off him. I was watching him drink copious amounts of alcohol, eating burgers and pulled pork sandwiches in there in a week, and he was still losing weight. He just went off sugar. That's gone by the wayside now. He now smokes. He smokes cigarettes. I found out he never even stopped smoking. When I found out I was pregnant with Thomas, I gave up smoking, and I've never smoked since. Because I don't have an addictive personality, I don't get addictions, which is lucky. It's one of the things I'm grateful for. He smokes, he drinks heavily. He's like he spent years going to the gym, working out and doing powerlifting and that, and there's zero change in his body. He should be like very muscular and like Arnold Schwarzenegger for all the weights that he lifts and that, but he's got like my muscles and my arms are bigger than his, and I don't work out because of his diet and his lifestyle. So, but I thought, well, I'll give it a couple of weeks. I'll do what he's doing and I'll just give it a couple of weeks. And so on the 29th of June, 2015, I made the decision I'm not going to have any sugar. I'm going to eliminate sugar from my diet. And within 24 hours, I knew I was never going to go back on sugar again. The foggy brain had gone, my headaches had gone, I had the best sleep of my life. Within 48 hours, I had so much energy, I was begging him to take me out for a walk. Whereas before, I had spent the first, I'm embarrassed and I'm ashamed. I spent the first 6 years of my baby's lives just growing fatter and fatter and fatter in my bed because I was with a man who hated me so much. he wouldn't let me grow. He wouldn't let me shine. He controlled everything about me, and I let him. And as a result, he fed me, and I got fatter and fatter and fatter and fatter because I soaked up his depression. I became the part of him that he hated in himself. And when my baby came in and said that to me, it was like the wake up call of my life. I loved my baby so much. I needed to make the decision to live for them. I was at my heaviest 28.5 stone, 365 pounds, creeping up very quickly to nearly 400 pounds. I was almost a size 30, a 5XL, almost a 6XL. And I was already at the point where if I slept on my side, I was crushing my kidneys. If I slept on my back, I was crushing my lungs. It was hard to breathe, even just like the slightest bit of exercise, going from the bed to the kitchen, doing the housework, and that would absolutely exhaust me. And so most of my children's homeschooling, once they got to about, or once we moved to Crigglestone, and once we moved to England, once we moved to Yorkshire, most of my boys' homeschooling was done with me in bed and working around me being in bed, and then I'd get up and cook and do the housework and stuff and go back to bed. So within 2 months, the arthritis that I had been afflicted with since the day I was born, because of I was born with a degenerative spinal disease, had vanished, gone. I had no, I was, and I'd been on medication pretty much since I was 15, 16 years old for my back. My degenerative spinal disease is bad enough that I've got holes in my spine. Like it's like Swiss cheese in certain parts of my spine. And there's a little bit of my spinal cord between my L4 and L5 that's trapped, pinched. I also have no tissue between some of my vertebrae, so it's bone against bone. It's just bone rubbing on bone on my spine. And I was always told by the specialists in that if I ever if I ever just like poop myself or pee myself, I'm to call an ambulance immediately because it means that I'm about to become paralysed. They said I would be in a wheelchair by the time I was 60. They said that I would never be able to carry my children naturally, and that all my pregnancies would be spent in a hospital bed because such is the dangerous nature of my spinal disease. So I've been on medication, pretty much painkillers and that, since I was 15, 16 years old, like heavy ones. And then, of course, I was put on the morphines and that with the mesh rejection and all of that, and I was on them for years, all different kinds of morphines and diazepam and all that, and I'm allergic to all of it now. I can't take anything, which is why I have to keep myself so healthy, because if I get sick, there's nothing I can take. When my ex stabbed me in the shoulder with the heroin needle and I got that abscess thing and needed emergency surgery, I couldn't have antibiotics for that. They tried to put me on them and they had to keep changing them. And after about 3 attempts, they just gave up. And they were putting these threads of ribbon in to the open wound after the surgery because they couldn't stitch it up. They had to leave the wound open in order to soak up all the pus and infection. So every day I'd have to go to the little medical centre, and they'd have to pull the ribbon out, clean it out with saline solution because they couldn't even give me anything to clean it out because I was allergic. They could only use warm salt water to clean it out, and then thread new surgical ribbon back into this big open wound and then cover it up with gauze, and then they gave me a big bag of medical stuff so that I could change the gauze in that at home as well. And that was like that for 3 months, and I'm telling you now, labour pains weren't as painful as them changing that ribbon every day without pain relief, without antibiotics. It was so painful. But while I was healing, that's when I started working on making all my jewellery, you know, my talismans and all of that, and my supernatural foods, which brings me to this. Because what happened was when I started losing weight, within 2 months the arthritis had gone. Within 3 months, my fibromyalgia had completely disappeared. All the medical conditions that I had been treated for in the past completely vanished. Medical conditions that I'd suffered from as a child completely vanished. All because I went off sugar, and I haven't looked back. I treat myself every now and then. If I sort of get the urge to have something a little sweet, I'll allow myself ice cream because I love ice cream. So I will allow myself to have ice cream, and every now and then dark chocolate, because that actually has health benefits, like it lowers your blood pressure, it calms your nerves and all that. Dark chocolate, the darker it is, the healthier it is for you. It's really good for your heart, which is why in New Zealand, when my dad used to have his army ration packs, they put energy chocolate in it, which is why I love dark chocolate. We call it energy chocolate, but yeah, dark chocolate. Because when he used to come home, I used to get his ration packs. I love milk biscuits as well, but I don't think anyone makes milk biscuits here. But yeah, so as I was losing weight, I think it was like within 8 months, I'd gone from a size 28 to an 18. Like, that's how fast it was, like a hot knife through butter. The weight came off so fast. I hadn't even realised that I'd dropped that many sizes in clothes. That's how fast it came off. And then what I did was I started just doing exercises on my bed. I've got photos. I've put a link in the description box. If you click on that, it's all there on my Instagram and that anyway, and on my X, but I've put a link. If you click on the link, I've just been posting what I'm talking about now. So you'll see all the photos, and you'll see in particular photos of me on the bed doing leg lifts and stuff to music in the background. This was about a year and a half maybe into me losing weight, me starting to lose weight. I'd already dropped quite a bit of weight. I saved up and bought myself a 40 quid exercise bike off eBay. And then what I did was I just started doing like 20 leg lifts this way and 20 leg lifts that way and 20 this and 20 that in a day on the bed, because I was so fat. But then after, like I said, like after about a year and a half, I couldn't contain the energy anymore. So then I got the bike, and I was just doing 10 minutes a day on the bike while I was watching like YouTube videos, like listening to YouTube music and that. And then my ex started, was saying to my ex, like, can you take me for a walk? And then the kids loved it. My boys loved it. They were so excited. Yay! They'd get their shoes and their jacket on and all that because Mum was going outside with them. One of the last things my boys said to me before they left June of last year was, they said, we can't deny how hard you've been working on yourself. We can't deny what a fantastic job you've done with your products and your food. Thomas said your products definitely work. He said they transformed my skin. And your food, he said, like, we feel so much better for it. And he said, we're really proud of you for the work you've done on yourself. We can't deny that. So I as I was losing weight, like when I was working on my products, recovering from my surgery, because I couldn't move my arm, my left arm. I couldn't like lift it or anything because of where the wound was. I literally have war scars, wounds of war, fighting this holy boy. Stabbed me right in the core of where the wing is, where my wing comes out. Um, then I started working on my food because then I was baking. I got the idea to come up with a range of sugarless products because sometimes I I have an egg allergy and a gluten allergy, and sometimes you just want a cake with a cuppa. You want to have cookies and that with a cuppa, but it's really hard making gluten free sweets and sweet treats and that because it's expensive, and gluten free flour and that is really hard to work with. But I thought just for now, I'm just going to work on sugarless products. So all the recipes that my mum taught me growing up, like New Zealand Afghans and all of that, I made them sugarless. I started making sugarless chocolate where there's no sugar, there's no artificial sweeteners, there's no nothing, but they still taste sweet. And I came up with it like an entire food range that I gave the name Supernatural Product, Supernatural Foods. So my jams, my sauces for like meats and all of that, like there's no sugar, there's no artificial sweeteners, there's no nothing. My chocolate, my milk chocolate, I haven't worked with dark chocolate or white chocolate yet, but my milk chocolate is phenomenal. You can't even tell there's no sugar in it. It just tastes like normal chocolate. But so I started working on cakes and desserts and puddings and cookies and muffins and sauces and jams, that sort of thing. And then I just like, branched out into like party foods, like sausage rolls and like little, my mum called them bread baskets, which are like little mini quiches and that. But yes, I even had a go at making my own ice cream and ice cream cake and my cookies and that. And you'll see on my Instagram, I've posted it all. It's all out there. And then I decided, well, this food is helping me lose weight. It was helping my children lose weight of the stuff that I could eat that was gluten free and that. Like, I came up, my omplets, oh my God, my omplets, which are like a cross between a crumpet and an omelette. And I came up with it when I was coming up with the idea to do, I was originally going to call it the Hanging Gardens Cafe, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. But then I changed it to Mama Bear's Kitchen Cafe and Bakery because everyone calls me Mama Bear. I make my own pizzas, I do my own KFC chicken, all of it. And people lose weight eating it. My pumpkin pie, everybody loves my pumpkin pie. My sugarless pumpkin pie, I've got about three different alternatives to my pumpkin pie, and every single one of them, people just, my pumpkin pie is probably my most famous thing, next to my sugarless Christmas steamed pudding, which is done old school in a proper old school steamer that you put in the water and boil it, and all of that. I do everything old school. Everything's done by hand. Everything's done traditional. And I started getting into, wanting to make my own like tartar sauce or tartare sauce as we call it in New Zealand, pickles and chutneys and all that sort of thing. I was just starting to get into all of that when Chris did what he did and then tried to steal everything out from under me. He tried to sell all my oils and that on eBay as pagan ritual oils, and then all my cake ideas and that, which weren't sugarless. He then tried to set up his own bakery. He like literally tried to steal all my ideas out from under me. But the thing was, he stole everything before the seed had begun to germinate. So then, and me being forced to have to tear everything down and start again, like how I had to rewrite the ending to the Dear Satan clause and everything, it became bigger and I expanded. I've got, if you go on my Instagram, you'll see all the food prototypes, my omplets I designed for, people who go to the gym and have a workout, truck drivers, law enforcement, labourers, council workers, bin men, all of that, that need a good hearty meal. Because I used to see them going into like Greggs and that and grabbing pies and sausage rolls and that for breakfast, which is fine, but I'm a mum, and like I'm the archetypal like fussing over the husband and wife kind of woman. I like to feed my men. I like to feed my visitors. I love to feed my kids. I love to feed people. And I'd see all these guys coming out with their high vis vests, getting into their trucks and vans and all that to go and have like a long, hard, laborious day of work, surviving on Greggs, and it was driving me insane. And so I said to the boys, and like going to the gym and then going to Greggs, and it was driving me insane. And I said to the boys, I can do better than that. And in my cafe, when these men, these workers, these people that have hard labour intensive jobs and that, when they come to my cafe, they're going to sit down and have a breakfast menu where they're going to leave full, but it's going to be healthy and it's going to be packed with meats and proteins and all the vitamins and minerals in that will set them up for the day. They'll leave full, so they won't need to eat until lunchtime. But then their wives and their girlfriends and their mums and that will know I'm taking care of them for them. They won't have to worry when they come to me. I'm off to Mama Bear's. Okay, yep, that's cool. The wives and girlfriends and that won't need to worry about what they're eating, because as an ex-wife and as a mum and that, I used to worry about what my men were going off to eat. It bothered me. So then I started getting back into making my own bread. Like I make my own homemade bread. You'll see my examples of it. I've tried so many different kinds of bread, and I love to make soup in that because I have this big plan of the way I want to design Mama Bear's Kitchen Cafe and Bakery at the foundation, and as independent businesses, if I can make them become chain stores and all of that. In the winter time, one of the things that they do in Scotland, which I absolutely loved living there, is that everywhere sells soup and bread, soup and rolls, barms, baps, whatever you want to call them. And you'd see everyone, and we did it ourselves, walking around drinking cups of soup and having a roll. And so, one of the things that I pride myself on is I'm really good at making soup, and I've been getting into trying all different kinds: carrot and coriander, leek and potato, vegetable and barley, just all kinds, tomato and basil. I've got so many recipes that I've tried, and stews. I want to do big cauldrons in the winter, like come autumn and winter, do big cauldrons of soups and stews, so that my boys can come in and grab a cup of soup and a roll and sit in the park before they drive off if they're just a little peckish, or they can sit down with my breakfast menu, or leave with like a pot of one of my stews, because one of the things that my baby Gabriel loves are my stews, which my dad taught me to make. So my stews, taking cups of soup, cups of stews with the rolls and the bread and that, and then sitting in the truck and eating it, and everybody will know that what they're eating is healthy. But my omelettes, I do about 20 different versions of omelette that people just absolutely go nuts for. And that's going to be on my breakfast menu, because I designed an entire menu based around men and slash women, I guess, who have very labour intensive jobs, where they've got to stand on their feet a lot, where it's physically exhausting for them, where they're ravenous. So yeah, so my omplets and that. So I created a whole range of foods, including my pizza, which I made yesterday. I want to sell my own pizza in my takeout place at the foundation, we've got because Gabriel was my food business partner, he was the one that was helping me put the menus together, and he helped me put together a kids menu. So when you come to the Alchemist Tavern and have like a pub lunch or whatever, you can bring your kids and there's a kids menu. Or when you come to Mama Bear's Kitchen Cafe and Bakery, there's going to be stuff like designed specifically for kids. So hence working on my chicken goujons and my chicken nuggets and all that, gluten-free ones and not gluten-free ones. But all of it's sugarless, all of it is natural and organic. There's no chemicals or anything like that. I will sell them in the freezer in my little department store at the Alchemist Cavern, and people will be able to take my food away and eat it and know that it's healthy. So I wanted my food. I'm going to promote my food, which is one of the reasons why I was documenting my weight loss. Is I want it to rival Weight Watchers. I'm going to promote it as a weight loss food. My supernatural foods from my dairy products. Because I want to do my own dairy, my own ice creams and that sort of thing as well. That's one of the things I was working on last year, all different kinds of flavours of ice cream and like our own ice blocks and things like that. And did a fantastic job with it too, I must say. People kept asking, people who were sampling my food kept asking when I was going to do more ice cream and fruit salad and what flavour ice cream I was going to do next and all of that. I just need the right containers for it. But yeah, so but because I don't see my boys anymore, I've got no one to test my products because of the gluten, or if it does have sugar in it, because they're what my chocolate ice cream recipe needed condensed milk, and so I can't have that. And so I got my boys to try it, and then I found better recipes that didn't have the sugar in it. So yeah, it's all been trial and error, but it's helped me put this menu together, this range of products together, from jams, sauces, puddings, cakes, things for picnic baskets, things that are gonna feed men hearty meals and all that sort of thing, pies and pastries and pizzas. And I just don't have the right equipment. I really, really, really want to perfect my version of KFC chicken, and I want to have a go at making homemade fish and chips, and gluten-free fish and chips, because fish and chips are my favourite thing in the whole world. But it's very, 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 very expensive to get gluten-free fish and chips here. It's like 17 quid, and the piece of fish isn't even like the size of my hand. Whereas if you don't have a gluten allergy, the piece of fish is like the size of my head, like it's huge. But you get tiny portions, and I'm not paying 17 quid for like a tiny piece of fish and like a humphy of chips. So I want to learn to make my own, but I need a deep fat fryer. And my faith as an indigenous wick, um, you know, medicine woman, like, you know how you have the witch and Wiccan, those words are derived from the word wick. Witch means intelligent or of intelligence, and Wiccan just basically means the same thing, whereas Wick means ancient wisdom, ancient knowledge. So we're the indigenous, like your medicine women. You would call them maybe witch doctors or shamans, although witch doctors are kind of like they're kind of one step above devil worshippers, because they sacrifice animals. They cut heads off chickens and use blood and bones and all that. Whereas a proper witch, those who practice the occult correctly, like your sorcerers and your warlocks and your high priests and priestesses like me, we know that it's a sin to sacrifice life in order to get things that you want from the universe. In order to manifest things, you can't take the life of an innocent. You can't just pick things off a plant or off a tree if it's not one of your totem animals, minerals, or vegetables. Like, we understand the laws of the universe. So, any occult practice or spiritual practice where they're just helping themselves to the planet, just taking crystals, taking the Palo Santo, chopping the head off a chicken, doing a blood sacrifice, doing a human sacrifice, they're the opposite end of the spectrum for your sorcerers and warlocks, and you have your elemental witches as well. But like I said, if they're taking things that they're not allowed to take, that they don't have permission to take, they're on the opposite end of the spectrum of what we are. And I'm a high priestess, but the thing that's at the highest ranking is as a high priest, high priestess, because that's when you're working in the realms of working directly with God or your gods. However, I'm above that because I'm an eighth elemental alchemist. So I have the power to create life in the palm of my hand using occult physics, using occult alchemy. So there is no one out there, not even the Illuminati and these secret societies, have people working for them who can do the kind of thing that I do. But they need spell books, they need to work with symbols, and they have ceremonial cups and daggers and all that kind of bollocks, all the robes and that. I don't need any of that. That's how powerful I am. People who hold the real power of the occult, we're forbidden from writing it down. We're not allowed to write any of our knowledge down because in the wrong hands, it's dangerous. And as you see from Elon Musk and Christopher Black and Donald Trump and Paper Doll Productions and everybody else who's tried to copy me and mimic me, they're all now paying the price for it. There's karmic consequences for messing with the occult if you don't have permission or you're not ordained by God to do it. So my food is alchemical. I have infused biorhythmics into it and alchemy into my recipes. I tore my mother's steam pudding recipe down, the Afghan recipe down, and I infuse biorhythmics and alchemy into all my recipes so that it heals you when you eat it. And that's what my sons were confirming. One of the last things they said before they walked out, and I never saw them again. We have to admit, your food, it does heal. It does cure you. It does fix you with things. We have to admit, when it comes to your food and your products, they're something like they're something else. They admitted that they were feeling healthier and that they were being cured of things, and other people have as well. I do a very, very small range for diabetics. I do a range for people with like heart conditions, heart disease, because one of the very first things I made back when I was married to my first husband, Paul, in New Zealand, his father had had a triple bypass and he had a very strict diet and he wasn't allowed eggs and sugar and salt and all that sort of thing. And I used to bake him banana cake. And I got accused of trying to kill my ex-father-in-law for the inheritance because they were worth a lot of money. They were a very wealthy, well-respected family, and I was told by his mother I was from the wrong side of the tracks and that my family were the N-word. But she didn't care that we were N-words. As long as she got grandchildren, she didn't care if they were going to be half N-word. Because my mother's was dark skin. My mother was a brown skin. I'm just Irish skin. I got my grandfather's Irish skin, but both my parents were dark. I've got aunties and uncles and that that were like as black as the ace of spades. And you wouldn't even know that, like, they're my first cousins and stuff, because it's just the way genetics works. But I used to make him a banana cake, and I got accused of trying to kill. You're trying to kill him. I used to make one for him to eat and one for him to freeze. No icing or anything like that on it, just a straight out banana cake. Until when they started screaming at me in the kitchen saying that I was trying to kill him for his inheritance, until I showed my husband, who didn't even defend me until he saw what I'd done. I had replaced the egg with milk and baking soda, and the sugar with orange juice. And then he was like, he was like to his mum, like, she's not. And then they had to shut up. I got no apologies. But back then, like, this was like 1994, we got married. This was back then when I was first starting to dabble in making sugarless food. And Avon Morehouse, he absolutely loved my banana cakes. The thing that everyone remembers about me from New Zealand is my baking. I'm not fancy. I can't decorate all posh and stuff like that, but my food tastes good. Everybody loves the taste of my food when they come to my house. The one thing that people say when they come to me is that all they do is eat and sleep, and are so comfy and cozy because of I mother everyone. I'm a good host. People come to my house, the first thing I say is, "Are you hungry? Do you want something to eat?" My boys used to say I was like I was a Jewish mum. I was just like a Jewish mum. I'm so proud of that. You hungry? Or like an Italian mum, But they used to say I was like Beverly Goldberg from the Goldberg, because I'm proud of everything they do and they can't do wrong. And I'm like the hover mum, and wipe their face and the teenagers and all that. So that's me. That's totally me. I fuss. I massage my man's feet when he comes home from work, and make sure that he's got a hot meal on the table. When he gets in, and that's me. I'm old school traditional. So this is the story of my food. And I went into the shower to have that wash while I was making a coffee. And I'm just starting to hear the birds now, because I love to sit and listen to the birds in the morning. And then I go out and feed them, and the stray cats in the morning. And I was washing, and then I realised my stomach at the bottom, the thing that has been my bugbear for all this time, that I really thought, people used to say, why don't you just get a tummy tuck? All you need is like a tummy lift. It would just be a little quick. Even the doctors used to say all they'll do is just do a little cut at the just below your belly button and lift it just a little. He said you'd only need like a 1 or 2 inches of skin taken off and lift it, and that you won't have to worry about that. And I said, but then I'd feel like I'd be cheating to get to the end of the finish line. I said I'd feel like I was cheating if I it would be like getting in the car to drive the last few hundred meters across the finish line of a marathon that I'd just run. And I want to be able to get across the finish line with a flat stomach by myself without needing any kind of. And because what are they going to do? They're not going to be able to give me painkillers. They're not going to be able to give me anything, to stave off infection or anything like that. So, yeah, I said to the doctor, like, I want to do it myself, because I'd feel like I was cheating. My conscience, I'd feel guilty that I'd gotten so far, and then I just let somebody else, like, do the last bit. So I said, I've got to do it myself. Now, because of my hernias and that, I've never been allowed to lift anything heavier than a bag of sugar, because they said I have like a 98% chance or something of getting another hernia. So I can't lift anything heavier than a bag of sugar. I can't stand for too long. I can't sit for too long because of where the meshes are. And, and then of course, after Chris did what he did and I got tortured, and all my scars from my surgery split open, including my C-section scars split open, and my gut started falling out, and I started getting those chronic infections, which I had to heal myself, literally pouring salt into the open, festering wounds and that to keep them clean, which my military dad taught me. Um, I, I've had to do it all myself, but because of that now, I can't ride. The surgeon said I could cycle, walk, and swim to help get the weight off. He said the one thing that I was really lucky with is that with my kind of genetics, my skin's very elastic, and because he couldn't get over how I had no, usually people when they have massive amounts of weight loss like that, you see them, they have to have the skin removal surgery. But luckily, my genetics, my skin just bounced back. You can't see stretch marks or anything like that. They are there, but you can't see them. You'd have to look really, really close to my skin to see them. And my skin has just toned up beautifully. It's kind of like God was saying, look, it's going to take you 11 years to get this weight off because of medical issues, because, now with the damage that's been done to my stomach, I can't cycle anymore. I can only walk and I don't have access to a pool. I'm forced to have to carry all my shopping. I try to get everything delivered where possible, but sometimes I have to carry my shopping, and that which guaranteed will have me laid up for a couple of days because it pulls on, the part of my stomach that's damaged in that. But in the last 12 months, I've barely done any exercise because I've been so busy doing these investigations and trying to protect and defend Vladimir Putin and King Charles and all of that, doing my investigations into Starmer and Trump and Musk and that. So I've hardly left this flat. And yet the weight is still coming off because my diet, because of the food that I make. So when I open my cafe and my restaurants and my takeout places and that, I'm going to be promoting it as if you come and eat with us, you're going to lose weight guaranteed. Even if you lived on us for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and all you ate was my food and you never cooked at home, guaranteed you're going to lose weight because it's all food that I ate. And I've lost all this weight. And I stood in that shower and I went to wash my stomach. And for the first time, and obviously it's been like this for a while, I've just been too busy to notice, I didn't have to lift the little parts of my skin up to wash under my skin and wash under my tummy. From, how do I explain it? From my C-section scar up to just below my belly button, there was just a little bit left that was sagging. It's not fat, it's skin. I'm not talking about fat, I'm talking about skin that was still hanging. When I put my underwear on, there'd still be a little bit poking out on the left and right side of my underwear, and I couldn't believe it. I stood in the shower and I kept touching them like, it can't be. Like, how the hell did this happen? I didn't even notice. I didn't even notice that I didn't have to lift my tummy, that bit of skin up to wash under my tummy in there anymore. When I was morbidly obese, that part of my stomach used to sit on my thighs. I used to walk and my thighs would rub and I'd get blisters and that in between my thighs. And I used to get fungal infections and that, where I'd have to have steroid cream in that and yeast infection creams to put under that bit of my tummy and that, because it would get raw and infected and blister and stink because I was so fat and sedentary. It's embarrassing. That's why I get emotional, because I did that to myself. I I I'm so ashamed of what I allowed myself to become, because I let a man who didn't even love me, who didn't even care about me enough to look after me when I had life-saving hernia repair surgery. They said if I didn't come in The first two, Mr. Alani, he was a doctor from Iran, general surgeon in Perth Royal Hospital, saved my life. Dundee Nine Wells just said I needed to poop. I was in hospital for 10 days and they kept feeding me stuff to make me poop and I wasn't pooping. And so I said to them, can I please go to Perth Royal and be under the care of Mr. Alani, who was looking after me with my pregnancy with Gabriel, because they already knew I had a hernia when I was pregnant with Gabriel. So he had to keep an eye on the hernia to make sure that it wasn't going to put Gabriel in any kind of danger. And within 3 months of him coming out, I collapsed, lost conscious, like I collapsed, and had to be rushed to hospital. And they said, oh, it's just I needed to poop. They didn't do x-rays, they didn't do scans, they just said I needed to poop. And so they were giving me lactulose and stuff, and after 10, it might have even been 13 days, I still hadn't pooped, and I was getting worse and worse and worse. So I said to them, can you put me under the care of Mr. Alani? May Allah bless him and his family, because he saved my life twice. He said to me after I had the first operation, if you hadn't come in when you did, you would have been dead within 24 hours. He said because you had a knot in your bowel, and he said it was just starting to turn grey. He said it was just about to start poisoning you. And then he said after my surgery, you are not to move for 14 days. You are to sit in a chair. You are only allowed to get up to go to the bathroom and wash. My ex-husband picked me up. I had a mesh holding my guts in, covered in laparoscopic stitches. He picked me up from the hospital. I had a 2-year-old and a 3-month-old. He dropped me off and went back to work. And I had to carry, and my baby, Gabriel, was 10 pounds 6 ounces born. So he was a big baby. By the time he was 3 months old, he was almost 12 pounds. And I had to carry a 12-pound newborn baby and tend to a toddler. I had to wash, cook, clean, everything with a mesh holding my guts in, because it's medical abuse. He didn't abuse me physically, he abused me medically. He physically abused me through medical neglect. He left me, it was so painful too. So then what happened was, 6 months later, I collapsed and went back to Mr. Alani. I got rushed to hospital, collapsed, lost consciousness in front of my babies, got rushed to hospital, and I had another hernia, and this time it was strangulated hernia, and I had a massive, hole in my stomach, so I almost died again. And so they put in a second mesh, and he said the same thing, Debbie, I'm telling you, you cannot move. You are to sit in a chair and you cannot move. My ex-husband picked me up from the hospital, dropped me off, and went back to work. And then what happened was 9 months later, I got another hernia. So he gave me, he's responsible for the first 2 hernias. Sorry, the second and third hernia are all because of him. So I almost died a second and third time because of him, because he didn't care. All he cared about was going back to work to make his games with his friend Tardy, where the business went under anyway, and Tardy ended up giving his job to somebody else. Left me. And then what happened was, after my third operation, he lost his job with Tardy, and we had to move to Glasgow from Baldini, just outside of Dundee. And then 2 weeks after my hernia repair surgery, I had to pack a house by myself with 2 toddlers, a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old. I had to pack a house by myself and move us by myself with meshes holding my guts in. And then the infection started. And that's when I had to, like, cure myself. I've done it all myself from start to finish. I lost weight. I cured myself of infections inflicted by people who hated me because I was too inspirational, because I was too determined, I was too focused on building a better life for my sons and I, because I'm too black. Because my blood is black. My skin is white, but my blood is black. And I've created this food. I've designed these games. I've written these movies. I've created musicals, incredible movies in that when I build my foundation, these kids, their schoolwork, the work that they're going to do, the stuff that I've been getting my boys to do since they were little kids being homeschooled, I'm now turning into an empire to help other children, and all the food that they grew up eating, I'm now going to turn into businesses of my own that they've all tried to steal. So when people like Baby Doll Productions and Elon Musk and Donald Trump steal my movies and my products and my ideas and that, I take it very personally, because they're trying to steal something that has my blood, sweat and tears in it. I have sacrificed everything. My freedom, my kids, my friends, my family, my reputation. I've sacrificed everything to build this from the ground up. I have had to tear my empire down so many times because of backstabbers and liars and thieves and jealous, envious, vicious, nasty, toxic, devilish, evil people, because they could not stand the fact that I had something in me that they were never ever going to have in themselves. So they thought by taking it all, they would get to usurp me, except they forgot who I was. And by them challenging me and pushing me into a corner, it forced me to expose who I was. Now everybody sees my wings. That's metaphoric, obviously. I'm a North Star Dragon, but I'm the Grand Empress Fairy Godmother. All Fairy Godmothers have rings. I've even got a character, Mere the Fairy, on The Art of Creation. She's hilarious. Mere the Fairy, she's from Glasgow. She's for Glasgow, but she's a fairy godmother in training, but because she's only like 420 something years old. And now Paper Doll's trying to be a fairy. She went from whips and chains may break my bones and you shall bow and serve me to I'm just an innocent little teeny tiny fairy queen. And it's so offensive, because not only are they trying to disregard everything that I've had to go through to build all of this stuff, they're trying to profit off it as well, which will just come back on them as curses. That's why Elon Musk's tower is now falling, because he's so cursed now. I think people are starting to become aware that going near him, like Zelensky and Starmer, is what's the word? Going near them is going to destroy them by osmosis, because energy is transferable. And if you're dark and evil and toxic and a liar, then anything that you invest in that person is going to come back on you. And then you're going to lose the money. Your reputation's going to get damaged. You're going to face karma because you associate with them. And I've got people around Elon Musk and his dom, his dominatrix, his mistress, who knew this stuff was being stolen from me and did nothing to protect me, did nothing to protect anything that I was building, which is to fund the children's places at my school. Everything that I've created, everything that I've built, everything I've developed, from my radio stories to my movies, my video games, my foods, my products, my clothing range, everything is all for the money to go straight back into funding the school. And all the governments will have to pay for with the kids that come to my school is their lodging. Instead of putting them through, putting them on medications and through therapy and all that, government funded, where they're paying out, thousands and thousands of pounds and dollars and that for these kids that don't even deserve to be treated like that. All they have to do is pay like a little amount for their board, which will cover their food and everything as well, and then we will teach them how to use their skills to become future writers and artists, musicians, programmers, game designers, filmmakers, whatever. And then you got people like Elon Musk and his little mistress and that, who think that just get AI to do it. That's not creative. It's shutting the creative mind down, and we won't be having any kind of AI based creativity anywhere near our foundation. It's one of the laws that we came up with, specific laws, my three boys, that after I'm dead, after they're dead, every future descendant who carries on my empire have to live by certain laws, and one of them is no AI technology. That everything that we create from start to finish has to be done old school, because it keeps the writers and artists and musicians in that. It keeps the creative minds in jobs. You can't call yourself a writer if you put in a prompt in AI and then it comes up with a whole story or speech or script or whatever. That's no. Nope. So all this because I had a shower and didn't have to lift my tummy to wash it for the first time. From my C-section scar to just below my belly is the skin that I'm talking about, but from the just below my scar up is abs. You just, like when I'm standing, you can see abs, like my muscles, my stomach muscles, my abdominis rectus, my abdominis transversalis. My abdominis transversalis, and you're just starting to see my abdominis rectus now, and it's probably about another year, and I think I'll be able to wear a bikini, because that was my goal. It was always my goal. I used to say to my students, Nikki and Beth and Rhea and that used to say to me, when you've lost your weight, Mama, and you get your bikini, we'll wear a bikini with you. Because I said, when I lose all my weight, I'm going to get a bikini and I'm going to wear it on the beach without a t-shirt. I mean, I will put the t-shirt on because I don't get sunburnt, because I'm as white as the driven snow. My sister died of skin cancer, so I'm not interested in getting a tan in any way, shape or form. And the woman who worked on her wig was one of the first women to die of skin cancer from sunbeds. So, that's why I stay white. But I want to be able to wear a bikini, at least for a little bit, but only wear the t-shirt to protect my skin. If I was in a swimming pool, like in an indoor swimming pool, or while I was swimming at night in a pool, I wouldn't wear a t-shirt. I could wear my bikini, but I'm even going to design my bikini because my sister and I have got our own, we want to have our own clothing range. She's going to help me. My mum was a fashion designer and a knitter and a seamstress and that. We want to do our own clothing range. And I want to do Grand Empress lingerie. Grand Empress lingerie and sleepwear as well. So, because I love pajamas. I want to design nice little negligees and nighties and that wives can wear for their men, and pajamas and all that sort of thing, but do like a whole clothing range. I'm gonna do swimwear for the larger breasted women, because the thing is as well, I'm 6 foot tall. I have a small waist, I have very long, kind of athletic, slim legs, small hips, long arms, shoulders as wide as an albatross. I've got a big rib cage because I've got big boobs. Um, I was saying I went from a 48F to a 38 double G when I lost weight. I don't know why, but it's really hard finding clothes for me because everybody assumes like if you're a size 22 up top for a shirt, you're going to be a 22 down the bottom. And so I have to, I end up having to buy bigger size clothes to fit around my boobuses. But then I pay for it in the shoulders and the arm length. It always ends up short. I have to roll my sleeves up to hide the fact that everything only comes halfway down because I'm so, long. I'm lanky. And yeah, so I'm going to design my own clothes and my own swimwear and my own lingerie and, bras and all that sort of thing. Be my own little Victoria's Secret and my own little fashion house. But my sleepwear and lingerie and that is the Grand Empress. Grand Empress, Fairy Godmother. Grand Empress. The Grand Empress. So I'm going to have like little boutiques and I'm going to have everything contained within my foundation. But I'm also, my goal as well is to all my individual shops and businesses, I want to be able to have them go nationwide and worldwide. And Hungary's looking really good, I've got to say. I was just reminded they've come out and the British government have come out and released the data saying that 95% of all people who died during COVID died because of the vaccines. And then JFK's come out and said about the whole Pfizer thing that they knew it was going to kill people, but they gave people the vaccines anyway. And same with Moderna and all that. And I was like, oh, so I was right. They did murder the Queen. They did kill the Queen. And then I put up the evidence of where they said just announced that Buckingham Palace, the Queen and Prince Philip have had their vaccines both dead within 2 years. But then I brought up the dream that I had about Chelsea Clinton and Jacinda Ardern and Trudeau and all that being rounded up by those military trucks and taken to the military tribunal to be held accountable. And then because I just said, like, I don't know why Chelsea Clinton was in the dream. And then I looked it up. She works for the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. She's doing the whole von der Leyen thing of we've got to inoculate 50 billion gajillion children because we need them dead, sort of thing. So I was like, oh, that's why she was in the dream, because all of them get rounded up. And then when I was having my shower, just before I noticed my stomach had gone, I was thinking, come to think of it, in that dream, what I described, my boys and I walking in the countryside, I said it looked a bit kind of Eastern European-y. I've just been researching Hungary. And where my boys and I were taking that walk where we saw the trucks rounding everyone up, Trudeau and Ardern and all of that, looks like Hungary. And I'm like, that looked like Hungary. And then I kind of snapped out of it as I'm washing away. And I'm like, hang on a minute, where's my stomach gone? And I was feeling it. I'm like, oh my God. So then I quickly posted everything that I posted that's in the link in the description box and then came running to tell y'all. So, yeah, I make my own chemical-free shampoo and conditioner, like all-in-one shampoo and conditioner. I make chemical-free oven cleaner, laundry, just to clean your bathrooms, clean your kitchens, all chemical-free, all organic. My oven cleaner stuff's phenomenal. I just haven't cleaned my oven in a while because it's half dead. When I move, it's just going to have to get biffed. So, but it's a kind of cheap oven that they gave me when I moved in that's the sort that my mother would have never allowed to clean anyway, because there's certain ovens that they make that are energy friendly, energy efficient, that are the sort that if you clean them too much, it ruins the taste of the food. And it, we come from the days of cooking all our food in the dirt and over fires and that anyway, so we shouldn't be cleaning our ovens all the time because it ruins the taste of the food. But if you do want to clean it, I've got organic chemical free products in there. I have such an extensive range of products and food, and things to go in picnic baskets and things, because I want to have like a little department store. I want to have like Marks and Spencers and Walmart and that, where we sell things but food as well, and our produce and all of that. In my Alchemist Cavern store, if I have to have it all in. See, in my foundation, all the businesses and shops will be separate. So the Alchemist Cavern will only be like Asda and Sainsbury's and that. Well, they sell TVs and that, but you know what I mean. Little shop, like Co-op and that, where it's just food and produce. But outside of my foundations, my Alchemist Cavern stores will sell a bit of everything. Food, clothing, like Walmart, food, clothing, our music. It'll be at actual department stores. And then a little section of it will have like the art gallery and, shelves for the food and the products. And we'll have like a little freezer section where we'll have like my goujons and all of that you can buy to take home and put in the freezer, and just like a little store. So, and everything that I make will not be lining my pockets. I'll be making money, but my money will be to, all I want is a home of my own. I just want like my dream home with enough land that I can have my horses and my cows and feed the birds and all of that. I just want to be able to just sit in nature and give my boys a safe, quiet place to grow up, have my veggie gardens and my landscape gardener, and have my apothecary, my herbery and all of that off my kitchen, so I can work on my potions and products for the store, because I work on like animal totem oils and all of that as well, because of my stomach. What happened, excuse me, because I'm drinking coffee, because of what happened to my stomach, and that I have to work around my stomach pain. I can't have painkillers for anything. I have no access to weed. I have to deal with the possibility that I may be immigrating to a country where they don't have medical marijuana or anything like that. So I'm having to work around it in a way that I can still do what I have to do, where it's not going to affect me too much. And then when I am in pain, it means I have to take, a few days of bed rest and just light work with hot water bottles. When I have access to a swimming pool and I have a home with a bath, it won't be so bad. But yeah, so all of that story just came off. I had a shower and my stomach's not there anymore. It's still there a little bit, but I never even noticed it. I've been so busy, I never even noticed that the bit that had been bothering me. Or I used to say to my ex, Chris, the one that killed me, like, when is it going to go away? He used to drive me, look at it, because I'd wear tight jeans and there'd be like little bulges hanging out of my panty line and all that at the bottom, around the gusset and there, and I absolutely hated it, and it's not there anymore. So, and I never even noticed it until today. So, I'm proud of myself, and I want people out there who are wanting to lose weight and get healthy, because they say, oh, it's hard for women to lose weight over the age of 40 because of hormones and being perimenopausal and that bullshit. I've absolutely proven them wrong. I started losing weight when I was 44. and I'm getting more muscular and firmer and more toned and more athletic. I don't lift weights. I don't do yoga. I don't do Pilates. I don't do none of those bollocks. I just walk. Like I said, in the last year or so, since I've been doing this investigation, I haven't even been doing that really. Like 1% of the exercise, and it's still, the weight's still coming off. And as you know, I eat pizza, I eat burgers, I eat takeout. I can even eat the occasional bit of ice cream and, like I said, chocolate peanuts, or that's like my little treat of all treats is chocolate peanuts. Just because I don't know how to make them sugarless on my own. I don't have the kitchen space or the equipment to make sugarless chocolate peanuts. But when I do, I will, and then I can eat them guilt free. So they're just like a treat. They're the special treat, and then yeah. So all because it was like one day I felt like I wanted a cake, I wanted a biscuit to have with my cup of tea, but there wasn't anything I could have because all the gluten-free stuff either has more sugar in it or it has sugar in it. So I thought, I'm just going to have to make my own. And then bada bing, bada boom, Supernatural Foods. And I really want it to rival Weight Watchers. People won't even have to worry about things like Weight Watchers and Jenny Craig and all of that. They'll just eat my food, ordinary, everyday, going about their business, not even have to worry about anything, and the weight within a couple of weeks is just going to start falling off because it heals you as you eat it. My pumpkin pie recipe even has things in it that help promote killing cancer cells. So, because I'm an alchemist, and alchemy was originally, Persian scientists coming out of like Jordan and all that. Alchemy was originally the medicine of finding the key to immortality and longevity. How they turned it into turning base metals into gold, I don't know. But originally, alchemy is a Persian science where they were trying to find the key to immortality and longevity. I'm I've just turned 53 and people think I'm in my 30s. Um, I took what I knew from my days of being, I'm a qualified esthetician, a qualified beauty therapist, and we were taught how to do non-surgical facelifts and breast lifts just by, massaging and all that. So that's why I have no wrinkles, because I use my products, my face spritzes and all that, and then I do my non-surgical stuff. And so like my double chin, you know how they say you can't have surgery to fix your sagging skin and that. I didn't need to. I have all my, my double chin was so big, it used to touch my breasticles. The fat under my chin used to touch my breasts. When I talked, I sounded like Churchill the bulldog on those commercials. It's like with Jaws. Oh, I was so fat, just so unbelievably fat that I talk like that. And then, like, obviously, did my non-surgicals, which at the foundation at my wellness centre, you'll be able to come in for facial treatments, haircuts. We'll have a barbers and all that using all my organic products. You'll be able to come in and have massages using my oils and have facials and that using all my products and the non-surgicals and that. You'll feel amazing, all chemical free. We'll have no expensive equipment in that. It's all just taking what I know as an indigenous wick and a chemical Egyptian high priestess, and I've merged it all to turn it into like Wonderland, Nirvana, an oasis of calm and healing. When people walk through the gates of my foundation, they're going to leave just feeling like they've stepped out of heaven. And I found I even took it to Viktor Orban. I found a place in Hungary that's an old castle with a ton of land. Like there's a ton of land. I was looking at it and this castle, and I'm thinking, you know what? I said to Viktor Orban, I could work with this if I had the right architect and interior designer, and I'm pretty sure I've already found my interior designer. I found him off Tinterweb, and landscapers and builders and all of that. I could absolutely turn this into my vision for the future. I just need this water end, and I need justice so that I can get my money from Donald Trump and Elon Musk and Chris and NHS and those doctors and all of that. Take the money and take it to Hungary and start there if I'm allowed. So, and on the map, they're like the perfect location too. I can so branch out from Hungary. So we'll just see where the Lord takes me now. But I had to put it out there because I'm just, Friedrich Nietzsche talks about the genie and the demon inside all of us, or the genie and the daemon inside all of us. How you have good pride and bad pride, good ego and bad ego, and people might say, "Oh, she's been cocky and boastful." It's not. It's healthy pride. It's like I'm allowed to hold my head up high and say, I survived all of that. I went through all of that. People judging me and ridiculing me and accusing me of all sorts of things regarding my lifestyle, the things I was creating. I had people stealing from me. I had people try and kill me to steal from me. I have been dragged through hell and back to come out with this food that and these products and that saved my life, changed my life, built my life, created my future. And now I'm going to take all of that I have created, that little seedling that has started to sprout, and I'm going to hand it over to the rest of the world and say, now it's your turn to enjoy it. Now it's your turn to heal from it. And I'm allowed to hold my head up high and say, I did that all on my own without the help of anyone. Didn't need a man, don't need a man. I don't need help. I'm quite happy once I get my money to just employ the right, trustworthy people, architect, business manager, HR, you know, accountant, that sort of thing, and do it all myself. I'm the Grand Emperor's fairy godmother. There is no Grand Emperor fairy godfather. Where is he? Who can do what I can do? It's just me. And I think it's always meant to be that way. And when I do eventually fall in love, when I do eventually find someone who matches my frequency, I'm probably he's not going to have anything to do with my empire, other than the fact if he wants to join in and lend a voice or put a costume on to be a part of our Halloween parade or whatever, then that would be fantastic. I just know I don't want to be with a man who doesn't want to get involved in what I'm doing, but I don't want him being involved in my business. I don't want him having any kind of say in what I'm creating and what I'm doing. I just want him to be proud enough of me that he's happy to put on a costume and get on stage when he's not at work, jumping around with the kids, or you never know, maybe he might be one of the builders or one of the musicians or something like that, or one of the artists, or you never know. But I'm not bothered about it. I wanted so badly to hurry up and find my protector, and I just fell into trap after trap after trap after trap of just wasting my time in the drama and jealous exes and baby mama, and like people trying to control my emotions, and a lot of men that started sniffing around were trying to stroke the victim in me, trying to like, there, you poor little victim. Oh, let me soothe your victim, poor victim. And I say to them, I'm not a victim, I'm a survivor. I, I'm a warrior. I'm a warrior woman. I'm not a victim of anything. I'm a survivor of everything. Don't treat me like I'm a victim. Don't baby my victimhood. I get pissed off when people try and take pity. Oh my God, and feel sorry for me, because it's like, don't feel sorry for me. I got the life I deserved. Everything that happened to me from the minute I was conceived right up until this point is the life I deserved, according to God's plan, according to my ancestors, because everything I went through up until this point was to mould and shape me into the Grand Empress Fairy Godmother, Brahina Saithusa, North Star Dragon, that I am today. Which is all, Brahina Saithusa, Grand Empress Fairy Godmother, North Star Dragon. It's my brand. It's like Brahina Saithusa, the Grand Empress Fairy Godmother, and a lot of the stories that I write, she comes down and makes these. I've written a story called Wishes Make Your Dreams Come True, which Baby Doll Productions has totally tried to steal from me. She's just a little queen making a wish to be a big girl. Good Lord. But yeah, wishes make your dreams come true. Brahina Saithusa comes down off the North Star and appears as the Grand Empress Fairy Godmother. And she makes the kid's wish come true. He wants to talk to his mother because his mother died. And he because it's based on my nephew Sean, who's my sister Laurie, died when he was 8, and he had a lot of questions. He was angry in that. And so I told him how to talk to his mother. He probably doesn't even remember, but I turned it into Wishes Make Your Dreams Come True. It was the first story I wrote. It was originally, she was Anahita. The fairy godmother's name was Anahita, but then it all morphed and changed and switched, and because I always say nothing I create is final until it's down on paper legally. Once it's a paper script, once it's once it's a trademark and a copyright and a registered this, that, and the other thing, things are subject to change. So, yeah, but in real life, I'm the woman behind like how J.K. Rowling is the woman behind Harry Potter. I'm the woman behind Brahina Saithusa, the Grand Empress Fairy Godmother. And to the children, that's who they will know her as. I will dress up in my gowns and make the occasional appearance with my crown on my head as Brahina Saithusa, especially when the kids are graduating from the Beehive Club, the Honeybee Club, which is like my version of Boy Scouts and Girl Guides. And they get their final badge in that. We'll have like big presentations where I'll come out with my gown and do my thing and put the pins on them. And yeah, my sister's going to help me design my gowns. I've already sent her a few ideas. But yeah, it's like a whole thing for me that came out of me having to fight to survive. I wasn't supposed to be born. The reason why I have my degenerative spinal disease is because my mum had cancer when she was pregnant with me, and they couldn't give her chemotherapy, so they gave her cobalt therapy. She had cervical cancer, and they said, you need to abort the baby or you're both going to die. And being Catholic, she said, no, it is but the will of God. And so they said, well, the baby's more than likely going to be born deformed, and you'll be dead within 7 years. Well, I wasn't born deformed, other than my spinal disease, slightly crooked feet. My pupils are slightly off a bit. I've got astigmatism, and arthritic spine. And I've got a little extra piece on my stomach, which they discovered during my hernia surgeries. They kept cutting it off, but it just kept growing back. So they just left it, and that's it. But considering they were expecting me to have 7 heads and no skin and, be like, yeah. And then I had my mum for 35 years. So my journey to ascension is a long one, but the seeds that I planted along the way are now starting to bear fruit. And as I step into this new year and this new life, Phoenix rising, year of the Phoenix, I'm now able to start to reap the harvest and then put it in baskets to feed to everybody else and say, now I've done all of this, here you go, enjoy it. But I live by the story of the little red hen. If you know the story of the little red hen, she was like, hey, let's bake some bread. In order to do that, we need to, plant the wheat, and nobody would help her. The cat, the dog, the mouse, the rabbit, the this, that, nobody would help the little red hen sow the seeds, water them, tend to the crop, chop it down, grind the wheat into flour, and then make the bread. But then everyone wanted to eat the bread. Well, no. The only people that are going to eat my bread are my sons, my nephews, my 3 nephews, and my sister Erin, because they're the only ones that have helped me. Everybody else can just, what does it say in the Bible? In Psalm 23, God laying the table out for you to enjoy the feast, and everyone else has to watch. Everyone else will watch. Watch us eat God's feast in front of thine enemies. So, and then it reminds me of my eagle buffalo dream, where I was asleep on a buffalo that stopped at the portal of light, and I had to choose the people that were coming through the portal with me, the portal of light. And I just remember my sister Erin was there. There were only like 6 people that I chose out of the hundreds that were on the buffalo behind us, and then my sister Erin, and there was like 5 other people, which would be my 3 nephews and my 2 boys, and my sister Erin, stepping through the portal. I gave the eagle feathers back to the eagle. I didn't need the eagle's feathers anymore. I was doing it on my own, and then we stepped through the portal, and the portal closed. So, yeah, and that's New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. The portal closed. That's it. The door shut. So it's me, my sister, 2 of my nephews, and my boys if they want to, when this is over. All this because I had a shower and realised my stomach isn't there anymore. Just a little bit left to go. Can't believe it. So I get to hold my head up high and be proud of myself. I did this all on my own, from losing weight to healing childhood traumas, writing a plethora. If I never have more than one foundation in the world, my foundation will have decades of projects to do long after I'm gone. But then if I'm blessed enough where I can have foundations all over the world, we'll all be working together to get all these projects built within a couple of years, so that, within a couple of years of the streaming service being created and put up and everything, we'll all have like a ton of stuff to put on it. So by the time I build my gaming chair, wow, my gaming chair, I'm telling you now, this, the country that allows me to set up my first foundation, they're going to make billions off everything I'm creating, from my dating app, which has already been valued, my gaming chair, because that's going to revolutionise the world of entertainment and social media and all of that, gaming, space flight, space travel, all of it. The only thing is, with my space program in Hungary, they don't have a space program. But I don't necessarily think, it's not like we would be like NASA or Starlink, SpaceX. We won't need anything like that. We just need, like, basically maybe like an old army base, just for the, yeah, or a field or like an old and maybe a disused airport or something. That's all we're going to need. My space program won't cost anywhere near anything like NASA and SpaceX. Oh, I got to plug my phone in. Right, so I'm going to take that as my cue. It's longer than I intended to talk, but I'm going to make myself another coffee now. I had to share that story. It's a long one. I thought it was only going to be like maybe 20 minutes, but just wow. So, to anyone out there who needs inspiration and hope, let my story be your guiding light. And don't worry about anything. Once I get justice, I will be legally holding Elon Musk and Donald Trump and Paper Doll Productions, legally holding them accountable for the theft of my identity and my ideas. I'm not going to let anyone get away with it. Anyone who stole my products and my ideas, or my sister's identity or my identity or any of it, I'm not going to let them get away with it. I will be holding them legally accountable. I'm fighting for my rights. I'm not tolerating that kind of nonsense anymore. So, yeah, I'm so excited. I'm so looking forward to 2026. People don't know what's coming, but I do. Anyway, I'm going to go now. I can hear the birds starting to wake up. They were chattering the other day, so excited, saying, "You should see what's going on down in London. You should see what's going on in Parliament. Oh my God, you should see what's going on with the government. You're not going to believe it." In my culture, birds are either the voice of God or they are God, depending on the bird. So, yeah, so I'm going to go now. Oh, yay! I'm excited. I'll speak to you later. Hold your head up high and know you are loved. Ka kite anō. Mwah.